Greetings, what is up, and a very warm welcome to the channel. The sun is shining and the magpie is casting. Coming to you right now with a live 1 vs 1, fresh from the ladder, featuring spawning in the west, it is going to be the Overcommand West pieces of VonIvan. And spawning in the south, it is going to be the US pieces of asoureh. Asoureh? It's a slightly awkward one to pronounce, but hopefully we'll get there. And I decided to cast this one because, well, not only was it, you know, right at the top of the live games lobby, but it also features one of the more storied players of Company of Heroes 2 history. That is VonIvan, of course. Famous, probably most famous for his abusive Soviet tactics back in the day. He was one of the very finest when it came to Maxim spam into partisan abuse, into, like, T-70, just destruction, basically. And when he was doing it, it wasn't so much a cheese as it was an art form. Like he was just so good at it. For my money, on a completely other level. And whilst a lot of players would complain about that kind of playstyle, I just couldn't help but admire the skill and the fluidity with which he executed it. And so, with that in mind, that's why I decided to cast this game, because I really want to see what VonIvan's going to do here. He's playing as OKW, something I just can't remember ever seeing, but probably have at some point. But anyway. So very keen to see what he's going to pick. Straight away he's gone ahead and chosen the Breakthrough Doctrine, so that's what the Breakthrough Doctrine offers you. Just hit pause on the YouTube channel, I guess, if you want to overview those abilities in your own time. But that's what he's going to be rocking and rolling with here as we move forwards. Kubelwagen out on the map, looks like he's got 2 Volks, Kubel. This looks disturbingly standard. I just don't trust it. This is VonIvan, like anything could happen, and it probably will. So anyway. Storm Pioneers are just going to be lurking here, waiting to hop into a building and get the drop on some geezers, so that makes a lot of sense. These Volks Grenadiers are going to try and make it into this building, where they will find themselves in a concave of American rifles, but with the benefit of their cover, that might be an exchange that they can weather for some time at least. Schwervermacht Schlepper going to be coming out relatively early here for VonIvan. Often we see another squad picked before this. Before the Schwervermacht Schlepper comes on out. Kubelwagen going to maneuver itself onto the cutoff point. Looks like he really wants to grab that, but there are a squad of riflemen here from asoureh, and that's going to push back the scout car for now. So nicely done. Nicely done. And looks like Storm Pioneers kind of taking a slightly awkward fight at range from these riflemen here. This is probably a fight where VonIvan probably wants to back away here. He's probably feeding more veterancy than he's gaining here, just because of how expensive Storm Pioneers are. That said, actually, the damage not really clocking up on them very quickly whatsoever, so maybe I'm wrong on that. Kubelwagen in mid here probably wants to think about GTFOing. There we go, VonIvan right on top of it. His light vehicle micro, just usually pretty spectacular based on what I've seen throughout his Company of Heroes 2 career. That's the sound of a mortar. Boom. So looks like asoureh here going to be mixing in a mortar into his unit roster here, and that does make a lot of sense. I do like that choice. The Schwervermacht Schlepper kind of a little bit idle here at the moment, so... And I'm a bit confused about why he bought this one when he did. He could definitely have gotten the Volks first and then bought this, and it would have been about the same. He's getting a Rakettenwerfer? He's getting a What is this good against? Like at this I mean, this is like a 4-minute Rakettenwerfer. Well, in VonIvan we trust, and for now that's all I can say about this. Did he think he was up against Mechanized Company? I mean, he definitely saw Mechanized Company as a potential option for asoureh here, so... I don't know, like... Maybe that's a thing? But anyway, now VonIvan finds his supply line cut off. He's on like +11, +7, munitions and fuel respectively. Never where you want to be. And I do fear for him here. I mean, he's on 2 squads Volks, 1 squad Storm Pioneer, and a Kubel, and a Rakettenwerfer. Against like Captain, Triple Rifleman, Rear Ash, Mortar. And I know which I like best. It's these American units. Like, that just seems to be the stronger configuration right now. I am super confused by this Rakettenwerfer. Maybe that was a misclick? Maybe that was a misclick. I'm also super confused by the Schwervermacht Schlepper timing too, though. I mean, like, he could definitely have gotten the Volks. Like, this unit has provided no value by being out sitting on the field for like an extra minute or so. Whereas Volks coming out a little bit earlier, well, they can actually provide a lot of value, and they could have helped turn some fights here in mid, and they might have made it so that the American player couldn't have pushed forward and grabbed the cutoff. So, you know, that's all the little bit butterfly effect, all a little bit in the realms of maybe, but I feel like this has been suboptimal so far from VonIvan. And normally when VonIvan does suboptimal stuff, it's for really good reasons, and it makes sense later, and then you're like, oh, VonIvan, you devious bastard, but kind of straining to see it for now. Oh, that mortar hit, and that's a squad wipe. Oof, and that's a bad hit. That's a ugh. And this game looking really rough now for VonIvan. I mean, that is a slap in the face with a wet salmon. That is youch, you know. VonIvan probably just thought to himself, hey, I'm just going to play some of this nice video game that I really like, Company of Heroes 2. He didn't expect wet salmon to the face. So that's what he's getting. Anyway, here come the Panzerfusiliers, so maybe he's going to be able to make use of the pretty awesome 6-man squad here to get some stuff done. And he had the Muni straight off the bat to buy them the G43 upgrade, which substantially increases their DPS, as well as giving them fantastic line of sight. So let's see what he can get done with this unit here. The odds definitely against him, but you know, I've seen more done with less, so this is far from impossible, especially for a player of VonIvan's caliber. And we'll have to see what he can get done. Mechanized Regiment HQ, of course, was the choice, and that probably you know, telegraphs the fact that he's going to be getting a Panzer II Luke. I can't imagine VonIvan playing without a light tank of some variety, so yeah, definitely going to be the Panzer II Lukes. And the G43. Oh, and he gets the rifleman. Wow, that G43 upgrade finished at the perfect moment to murderify those riflemen, and they will be deadificated right there. Absolutely destructionificational. So nice work there from VonIvan, able to pull back, equalizing the squad wipe scoreline, if you like. So that's something nice. Here comes the Panzer II as well. That's going to enable him to control the field quite nicely. Bear in mind, of course, that asoureh does have a captain, so he will have access to a Zook. Let me just quickly check the American base and see if there's see if there's any kind of. So he does actually have weapon racks already. So the American player, as soon as he scouts this Luke's, will be able to respond by adding Zooks onto his rear ash or his captain, or you know, whatever units as he sees fit. I love that. Respond to the Lukes by buying your Zooks. That's a little. I like the little rhyming tactics, vocal gymnastics that you're able to throw in whilst casting. So the American player again able to grab the cutoff. This is super annoying. This is actually like. I mean, if I crack the tack, you can see this cutoff here is cutting him off from like a fuel point, a muni point, and 2 other connected points. So by harassing and focusing on this cutoff point, the American player is causing significant economical damage. Anyway, here comes the Panzer II, just coming straight on in like a screaming comet of Axis death here, immediately sledging on into the American player's lines. And VonIvan knows that he can cut pretty far. Does get tagged by an anti-vehicle grenade there, and you have to think that wasn't part of the plan for Ivan here. But does come screaming on out. Whoa, these guys are actually turbo weak. Here we go. He's going to fall back the Panzerfusiliers for now. Does he have medkits back at base? He does not have medkits at base, so that's an awkward fallback, really, because this unit's still going to come out onto the field turbo wounded. A little bit of a forlorn incendiary going to come forward off of these bolts in mid here. Kugelwagen could come forward and just help them out a little bit, you've got to feel. And it just seems like VonIvan just taking inefficient fights, you know, concaves of American units with mortar support chewing through his infantry. The American army now up to, what, 40 supply? Okay, VonIvan has 39, so maybe that's a little misleading. AT gun gets mixed in as well by the American player. Of course, he does have access to the captain deck, so the M1 anti-tank gun going to be an appropriate answer for the Panzer II Lukes on this map, and that makes a lot of sense. This is unlike the last map which I cast, which was also OKW versus US. On this map, I really like the choice of the M1 anti-tank gun. That just makes a lot of sense. Unlike on Leglie's Breakout, which is much harder to get the same utility out of that piece, I feel. So just pause here for a second. Always important to stay hydrated. Okay, so medkits come down here. That is going to let these Panzerfusiliers heal, so that's awesome. Nicely done from VonIvan. And both players just taking a second here to consolidate, take up positions, lick their wounds, reinforce, heal, do all that good stuff. Quite like the camo on that Panzer II Lukes as well, actually. It's quite nice.
Capture point is under attack.
And now the fighting begins again in earnest. Volks Grenadiers going to be pushing out onto the left flank here, grabbing themselves a second star of veterancy as they begin to try and put some pressure on this position here. Looks like the Panzerfusiliers is going to be used as frontline infantry here. They are going to be receiving just a ton of fire from everywhere, and they're going to decap mid, but not a lot more than that. And VonIvan has to have known what was coming, because, of course, remember, these guys have epic line of sight. Looks like the Panzer 2 going to be used here to try and control mid. The M1 anti-tank gun going to scurry and try and get in position. VonIvan has to be expecting that, though. Yep, and he is. So he's going to move back the light tank there. Nicely done. A man of his light tank micro caliber. I'm absolutely not surprised to see him staying ahead of this. Look at him go. He's just so good at this. Does he have eyes on this or not? I don't know. I just feel like that's just superbly well done. He's lured the M1 actually all the way up to the front, which is a bit dangerous for the American player now. Doesn't take much if some infantry get a flank on this thing. Remember, of course, it can't fall back. Even the Panzer 2 could come round and try and get up on top of it now. There are some rear esh with a Zook on it, so that is tough. Okay, now the Panzer 2 going to sign itself up for an M1 round through the front. Going to get out of there just... Woo! Does get out of there. 2/3 health remaining. Nothing to write home about. Going to get repaired here momentarily. You have to feel, I think mechanics are just finishing up on this building. So VonIvan going to be able to repair that one pretty quickly. Also, you'll notice there are shoe mines in some pretty sweet positions. VonIvan, of course, ever good at using mines. That's a skill he has learned at length by playing Soviet forces so very well. So, yep. Mines in good positions around the map, and I do like this a lot. Let's quickly check the tech here for the American player. So, no sign of grenades. Looks like he's going up for Major just now. So I'm guessing he's going to be teching into Sherman's. Has 80 fuel already. We'll have Sherman money in about 2 minutes or so. So that makes a lot of sense. I do like that. asoureh here, just playing a pretty straightforward game, and still, of course, has the flexibility of being able to select a commander here in response to whatever it is that VonIvan decides to do. And I like that a lot. VonIvan as well spices in a second squad of Panzerfusiliers. I really like this. I think Panzerfusiliers are super good, and I'm actually quite surprised to see OKW players not use them more often. I mean, they're a 6-man squad, but unlike conscripts, they're actually really good. I mean, not that conscripts are bad, but I mean, these guys are really good.
The enemy is overrunning one of our capture points.
So, yeah, they're going to come forward here and try and make a move at mid. I'm kind of surprised to see VonIvan being so idle with so many of his units. I feel like he could be just kind of applying pressure, or at least getting some utility out of these units somehow. Panzer 2 is going to rotate back into service here. And did he just... Okay, he had to fall back those Panzerfusiliers. Up to 3 squads of Panzerfusiliers. Quite like this. Makes me a little bit excited. It's not often you get to see Panzerfusiliers, and if you're going to see them used, you might as well see them used. You know, I want to see lots of them. And the other thing is, right, I actually think that the abilities, strengths, and weaknesses of Panzerfusiliers kind of dovetail with those of Volksgrenadiers. Like a lot better than Storm Pioneers do. Like, because Volksgrenadiers have you covered for your up close and personal needs. You know, they got the incendiary grenade, they got the STGs. They're quite durable, especially with veterancy. And Panzerfusiliers are quite good, you know, at longer ranges because they're, you know, quite accurate. They have the G43, which does good DPS at almost any range. You know, they have, I suppose, both of these squads have an anti-vehicle snare, so that's kind of useful. What else do Panzerfusiliers do? They can do flares. That's pretty cool. And anti-tank rifle grenade, of course. They've got the Model 24 grenade? Dude, I'd totally forgotten they have the Model 24 grenade. That's cool too.
Rounds complete.
Give me a second here. It's getting quite chilly in here. I'm just going to throw on a hoodie. There we go. Badass. Right, let's get back. So,
Sherman ready.
that's the sound of the Sherman
Sherman ready to
arriving. And, okay, so there's a Rakettenwerfer and a lot of different AT snares. VonIvan has reasonable enough munitions stash. Plus, remember, there are shoe mines in some pretty good positions here. No metal detector on the roster for the American player. So this Sherman, definitely a strong unit, undoubtedly the Kingmaker on the field. Going to come on in here. There's a Model 24 grenade. Yeah, remember when those were what Volksgrenadiers had? It was awful. But anyway, yeah, so Sherman on the field here. And it looks like VonIvan going to respond by putting a Puma on the build queue. And I got to say, I'm a big fan of this. Love me a Puma. Love me a Puma when my opponent is using T-34s or Shermans or Cromwells, because Pumas can really put in some work against those targets. Also, nice deflection on this Sherman. Does manage to break the engine, put it down to about 25% health here, does VonIvan, using the Kettenwerfer, using the Panzerfusiliers. And that's nicely done. Going to force back the Sherman, the American medium for now, and give Ivan a little bit of Sherman free time to get this Panzer, get the Puma out onto the field. So now we have that unit here, and you know, VonIvan, if his light vehicle micro is as on point as it usually is, that Puma ought to go on to do great things. Volk's going to be pushing over here down in the west and trying to grab a VP. That they do. VonIvan still, of course, controls the east VP. So so that's pretty useful.
Area's ours.
So the American player doesn't know about this Puma yet. We'll have to see what his response is going to be when he sees it. The Puma is kind of a difficult unit for the American player to get to grips with. I suppose just more Zooks and maybe another M1 is probably going to be okay. It all depends. With the Puma as well. Oh, the Puma just gets tagged by an anti-vehicle grenade. Sick. That's pretty unlucky. But yeah, the Puma's one of those units as well which like totally changes. The character and the texture of the Puma just completely changes with veterancy. You know, at no stars of veterancy, it's kind of annoying. At 2 stars of veterancy, it's actually reasonably dangerous. And at 3 stars, it's like really, really freaking nasty. Because what is it? 2 stars, you get accuracy and rate of fire, and 3 stars, you get weapon potency. So once you have the accuracy, the rate of fire, and the potency, which is what you have by the time you're at 3 stars of veterancy, it's actually a super dangerous unit. And we can see these Volks here actually just getting pursued down by a Sherman. That's 100% going to be a squad wipe. There we go. So nicely executed there by asoureh. Now, no Volks Grenadiers on the roster whatsoever for VonIvan, but that's okay. He still has like good core infantry. So that's not like the worst of wipes that he could have suffered right now. Gonna come across with the Panzerfusiliers here, looking for the double rifle grenade. I've got a feel. No, actually. Okay, he gets... Yeah, no, okay, it does come through. Damn, I'm just not very good at seeing the animation for that. And this Sherman now a little bit stricken. The Puma ought to be repaired, yep, and that's going to rock on into town. Pardon me. Kugelwagen goes down here. Panzer II takes a dive up on top of this M1 anti-tank gun. Probably going to get the M1 as well. Not much that can be done to save that. But the question is the Panzer II going to be able to exfiltrate intact? Needs to pull that one back here. Kettenwerfer also pushing up to take some ground. Puma's going to come around here, and this for sure has to be a dead Sherman. There's just not enough health on it, and the Puma going to just surgically take that one out and then back away. Panzer II, I think, is also going to be able to get out of here. The Kettenwerfer also going to fall back. So VonIvan here taking a really sweet fight. Going to grab the M1AT gun. Crazy stuff. Storm Pioneers coming in here to overrun the American Major and the mortar. And that is pretty much a complete routing of the American forces. The only thing for asoureh going right now are these riflemen who've been able to capture the East VP and are now chewing up ground in the sort of northeast of the map. So VonIvan there taking a pretty crucial battle there. That is the, you know, that is the big story coming out of this. So asoureh immediately throws some more riflemen on the queue, grabs another M1 anti-tank gun to help replace, you know, the one that he lost in that fight. And actually cancels those riflemen, but anyways. Yeah, just a sweet fight taken there from VonIvan, proving the value of these little units. And when you open mechanized reg and then you get a Lux into a Puma, I always call this build, and I know nobody else does, this is like a complete magpieism, but I always call this build like the wind-up toys build, because they're so small, you know, you can just imagine they just have a little key in their back and they're powered by a spring, you know, you just have one on your desk, you just wind it up and watch it drive around your desk or something like. That's what they remind me of, so it's good to see the wind-up toys kicking ass on the field. This is a build dear to my heart, actually. It's fun to micro. I just like using Luxes and Pumas, you know, I just like these units, they are fun. I also like Panzerfusiliers, so I'm pretty happy right now. I'm a happy caster. This is a happy magpie watching VonIvan use the units that I like. This mortar, though, continuing to get value, up to 2 stars of veterancy. So VonIvan going to have to look out for that one. asoureh still yet to choose a commander, so let's consider what he has on the roster here, seeing as how I think we're going to have a moment of quiet here for a second. So he has the Mechanized Company. Safe to say, if he was going to use that, he probably would have picked it by now. So that leaves him with the Armor Company. Whoops. Okay, he's going to go straight ahead. He's gone ahead and chosen the Infantry, the Rifle Company. So that's going to give him access to the Easy 8, which is, you know, a formidable Sherman, the M2 Flamers, the Rifleman Stim, Rifleman Flares, and the White Phosphorus Smoke Barrage. So probably taking this in order to get access to the Easy 8. That makes some sense. The Easy 8 is going to absolutely, you know, that's going to be a much more prickly target for a Puma to engage. Although, once a Puma gets to that 3-star of vet, there is absolutely very doable for the Puma to take on an Easy 8 under the right circumstances, perhaps with the correct support. So, so I do like the choice here from VonIvan. Sorry, from, well, yeah, sorry, I still like the choice here from VonIvan, if you like. I feel like this was a good map and opportunity for the heavy cav doctrine, because I think on this map Rangers are quite strong, and I think I quite like the Pershing against this like composition, because the Pershing has long range. It can really help take on these 6-man squads with its horrendous infantry squad wiping shells. And with its range and speed, it's actually quite hard for the Puma to get to grips with it, and obviously it just smashes pretty much everything else up here. With correct micro and support, of course. So I think this is a heavy cav situation. I know it wasn't asoureh didn't actually have heavy cav on the roster, so it was never going to be a thing, but I'm just saying it's situations like this that I like it for. Anyway, big fight coming down here. Panzerfusiliers getting stuck straight in. I'm guessing VonIvan's going to be on top of his fallback micro here. He's going to have to be getting masses of DPS in. Wow, he actually takes that fight over there. And now the 4-star Panzerfusiliers looks set to do a ton of work. The Panzer II Lukes has to fall back, having taken a ton of damage, but was raking down the flank here. A fighting position has been set up? Okay, that's actually a reasonable choice. Fighting position with Zooks, of course, and those rifle grenades is going to be providing some value. Grenade comes down here onto the 4-star veteran squad. And those Panzerfusiliers are going to fall back. That could have been a squad wipe, I feel like. So VonIvan perhaps getting a touch lucky there. Panzer II now has 2 stars of veterancy. That is, of course, when its DPS gets ramped up, he's going to take out the fighting position and rout the American forces once again, picking off the mortar this time. And that is a sweet pickup for OKW. Anytime with OKW, when you can grab an enemy mortar tube, you've got to feel like that's a great choice, because like having indirect fire as OKW, having an indirect fire weapon team is great, but it's much better when it's not a light gun, because then it's just better, and also it has smoke, which is super cool to have as OKW, a luxury you do not normally have. Anyway, Puma here gets caught off guard by the initial Easy 8, and that ought to be a dead Puma. There's just nothing VonIvan can do here. He's already used his Panzertac smoke here, and that is going to, well, it's not Panzertac smoke, he's already used his Puma smoke, and that's a dead Puma. And that's a big problem, actually, for VonIvan, who was kind of counting on that Puma to be his anti-vehicle. Now, he's going to have access to the Jagdtiger. He's nearly there on fuel. He's a ways off on manpower. But, you know, he does have Jagdtiger as an option, and he's getting on for Jagdtiger resources here as well. Hang on, where did those Panzerfusiliers go? I think he just lost a squad of Panzerfusiliers somewhere. I think they got, like, gunned down around here. I feel like he just lost a squad of Panzerfusiliers. Anyway, look at the top left, look at the top right. Things looking pretty dire for VonIvan. If he hadn't swiped that mortar on the last exchange, I'd feel really bad for him. But as it is, I just feel bad for him. Like, he has 1 Rakettenwerfer, but that does not an answer for an Easy 8 make. So this is troubling times now for VonIvan. The American player able to just scream back onto the field with this Easy 8, immediately take out a squad of Panzerfusiliers, and the Puma is just nasty times. So, okay, here comes VonIvan. This is his entire army. This is all of his units right here, except for the Rakettenwerfer, which is here. Okay, so this is his entire army now. And he's going to push on out. By the way, the scoreline I've not been paying attention to. So VonIvan on 285 under asoureh's 310. So a pretty close game in terms of the scoreline. That's fine. So the Rakettenwerfer gets set up in a nice position. If he focuses fire on this captain, there could be a wipe going here. VonIvan? No? Doesn't want it? Okay. Gonna let that captain just sneak away. Probably just wants to, you know, make sure he ends up taking this fight. Continuing to pressure the Easy 8 here with Rakettenwerfer shots. Bing, nice hit there coming through. Now these Panzerfusiliers could look to try and find an anti-vehicle rifle grenade here. And I believe that is what we're seeing. No. Okay, I'm really bad at spotting the animation for that. I am really bad. What? Okay, it was what we saw. Unless there were mines here, and I don't think there were mines here, then that was definitely an anti-vehicle rifle grenade, and I'm just crap at seeing them. Well, anyway. So, okay, so the Easy 8's going to have to fall back. That means it's going to have to spend some time to repair. Continuing to spout smoke. Actually, if this Rakettenwerfer can get into this building, that is probably GG for the Easy 8. Like, that Easy 8 will die. Okay, so nicely done here by asoureh. Gets his rear ash into that building. That is really nicely done. No American units poking over into this area of the map here. So, like, the northeast of the map is continuing to be in VonIvan's hands. And actually, VonIvan, if he could get this cut off, there are so many resources that he could, well, there are quite a few resources that he could be cutting off there. But continuing to apply pressure, definitely wants to try and keep this Easy 8 out of the battle for as long as possible. Pardon me, gonna grab this fuel point here. Okay, so Jagdtiger has arrived. That thing moving out onto the map now. Well, that was a weird camo. It's like snakeskin. There's also noticed the silent Jagdtiger. Or very quiet Jagdtiger, anyway. Pardon me. Okay, so he has a Jagdtiger. That's pretty strong, and I think that blows this game wide open. Gonna have to fall back just now, but that's you know, fairly typical following a large push, the likes of which VonIvan has just made. Jagdtiger in position here. Gotta be a bit careful. Easy 8 comes forward. Jagdtiger set to prioritize vehicles. Gonna get a good old hooning in the front here as this Easy 8. Why is the Jagdtiger not firing? There we go. Takes his shot. He has to back up immediately. Uh-oh, the Easy 8 kind of got to get around the side here, perhaps. This Easy 8, he needs to turn the M1. The M1 gets hit by a grenade. That somehow doesn't kill it. Okay, that will kill it. The Easy 8 goes down in the end. Why is he turning the Jagdtiger? He just wants to reverse that. He just wants to reverse it over here. Reverse it. Reverse it on over. Oh, he's going to stay to kill the AT gun. So I take it all back. He knows what he's doing. He's way smarter than I am. Lol. I was just worried for a second. Worried for the Jagdtiger, which is continuing to get pinged here. I'm still a bit worried. He should really reverse that away. What is he doing? Whoa! Where did that shot even go?
Move complete. Target secured.
Man, the Jagdtiger is a fun unit. I haven't seen this thing used like in a high-level game like for ages. So this is pretty exciting stuff, to be honest.
We're losing a capture point.
He is fearless with this Jagdtiger. Whoa, he has no Storm Pioneers. Okay, that has to be VonIvan's next purchase. Like Storm Pioneers, get a Shrek up on those Pioneers. They will babysit this thing all day. And a Scott? A Scott is going to be the choice? I just don't know about that, to be honest. I like a Scott as much as the next man. Great unit, does good things. You know, with great Scots come great times for American players, but I mean, when your opponent has a unit like this with this much range and this much damage and this much anti-tank potential, this is one of the few times I don't like a Scott. Even if that Scott's hiding behind a building or hiding behind a fence, the Jagdtiger can just smash on through as soon as VonIvan knows where it is. I feel like this has to be a misclick or something. This seems like a really bad choice. But what do I know? We'll see. We'll see what utility asoureh is able to eke out of it here. And it looks like a mortar team up in the northeast. Going to be falling foul of the American Major. So that's going to be a fallback there. This Major actually chewing up a reasonable amount of ground. I think the Panzer II will be tasked with coming in to clean him up. And this is just a weird unit to have on the field. What is this Scott actually doing? I'm super confused by the choice of the Scott, to be honest. Anyway, yeah, VonIvan, probably a man who would love to afford some Storm Pioneers sometime. Nope, just kidding. He's going to go for a 4th unit of Panzerfusiliers, because repairing your super heavy units is for wusses and jocks. I don't know. I don't know. I just would have thought Storm Pioneers then, for sure. But no, apparently he feels like he can delay those Storm Pioneers, at least for now. I would just feel much better about this Storm Tiger if it was on full health. But I don't know. We'll see. American officers with their stupid stim. Look at them go. Psk, that's the stuff. Okay, so pardon me. VonIvan, mostly repaired and rearmed, ready to roll. Just waiting on this Storm Pioneer squad. Sorry, on this Panzerfusilier squad. He is flatlining on manpower right now, so the expensive to reinforce OKW units gonna be taxing him a little bit here. Running these Panzerfusiliers into a concave of American fire is a touch risky. 5 stars of that. Getting wiped. No, not getting wiped, just getting smoked in the blink of an eye. Okay, this squad is like awkwardly strung out, actually. That's difficult for VonIvan. The American mortar tube actually landing some plum hits into this Yankee lineup. So that's really cool for VonIvan. This 5-star squad needs to run away, and it does. Where's the Jagdtiger in all this? Oh, it's okay, it's back here. So I think it's at Vet 1 it gets the barrage? Yeah. So that's when you get the HE shells, which makes the Storm Tiger much more effective against infantry targets as well. Oh, the American... Yeah, okay, so the mortar tube is actually going to get out of there. That looked pretty close. The Panzer, too, up to 3 stars of veterancy, obviously in need of repairs. Does he have... He does have the engineers, yes? Yeah, he does, yeah. So, I guess that's why he's happy not getting Storm Pioneers, because he has engineers on that building. I'd still feel happier with Storm Pioneers, but hey. But there you go. But the story right now, you know, asoureh resurgent on the field, beginning to open up a bit of a score lead. Nothing to write home about right now, but every second that goes by, asoureh pulling further ahead. He's going to try and grab this northeastern VP here as well, and if he can, I mean, he's decapped it, so VonIvan under a double cap right now, going to be under the full weight of the triple cap if things continue as they are. The Storm Tiger, just a great unit when it has stuff to shoot, but when your opponent doesn't really have very many vehicles, you know, it's not super hot. How much veterancy on this thing? Like, yeah, not a ton. Has the obligatory engine improvements. And yeah, you know what? Actually, the way VonIvan's played this makes me realise that I was wrong about going for those Storm Pioneers. Being able to repair on this building is fine for now, and he needs all the frontline squads he can get for pushing at these VPs, and that means more Panzerfusiliers. So VonIvan, of course, I mean, we all know he's a better player than I am, and now I'm just talking about exactly how in this instance. Making superior unit procurement decisions. So now there's a moment of quiet. Looks like VonIvan going to capture mid, going to capture northeast. American units all reinforced rearmed, going to be coming on out of their base here. The 5-star Panzerfusilier squad, so durable. Look how long it takes for even this amount of fire to whittle them down. Just happy to stand here and kind of take it in the face. Oh, the Scot beginning to cast some shells in VonIvan. You've got to be careful now. Yeah. The Scot, of course, ever potent when it comes to squad wiping. 4 stars of vet. What do Panzerfusiliers even get at 4 stars of vet? I have no idea. Marksmanship training and field experience increases their effective weapon range. Well, that sounds awesome. That sounds awesome. And what do they get at 5 stars? Increased fitness means that they can move more quickly for prolonged periods of time. Okay, yeah, so they get stim. At 3 stars, increases squad survivability and weapon control. Grenades and flares can be used with greater frequency. 2 stars. Improves grenade and flare range in addition to weapon accuracy. Okay, cool. I'm just, like, because I don't use Panzerfusiliers very often, I'm absolutely not very familiar with their veterancy upgrades. And of course, because OKW get 5 veterancy upgrades, there's more to remember. Anyway, an easy 8 going to get up on top of the Jagdtiger here, which is pretty dire for the OKW player. It's so easy to lose a Jagdtiger to an American tank that's behind it. And that's what asoureh is going to try for here. He's going to keep trying to get round in behind it. He's going to angle in here. I feel like if VonIvan would just change the reverse angle like this, he could get a shot onto the American tank here. He's going to get one now. Bonk. Oh, it does so much damage, does the Jagdtiger. VonIvan making that unit look positively good here. Whoa, Rifleman here taking a stinging shot from this mortar squad, which needs to GTFO because here comes a ton of American angry units. The Scot comes in here. That seems ill-advised at best. May get popped by the Jagdtiger. Nope, it's going to be okay for now. And this is just a crazy battle. Like, I feel for sure like VonIvan should have the upper hand, but he's unable to get the field control. Or he's unable to maintain the field control, I should say. Panzer II continuing to be epic. VonIvan's like light tank micro is just sublime. He's just very good at it. It's a thing that he's been doing for a long time at the highest level.
A capture point is being overrun.
And this Panzer II now finds itself with 4 stars of veterancy. Is that when it gets suppression? Or is that 5 star? Okay, that's 5 star. Oh no, it's a suppressing fire ability.
The enemy is overrunning one of our capture points.
Oh, I'm keen to see what that looks like. Anyway, it looks like Puma going to be added onto the roster here next for VonIvan. That makes a bit of sense. I guess it's another mobile light vehicle for him to use. I think I would have preferred another Panzer II. I feel like his anti-vehicle needs are covered, and his opponent, I mean, one Easy 8 is not that much of a vehicle threat. Though I suppose what the Puma does is babysit the Jagdtiger, and prevent the Easy 8 from trying to get round to its sides and rear, like what we saw in this little engagement that happened here between the Easy 8 and the Jagdtiger. So I guess the Puma just kind of like actually makes it so that that's not an option for the American player. And if that's not an option for the American player, well, that actually makes the Jagdtiger much harder to take out. So yeah, I do get the choice actually. That does make sense. Anyway, asoureh doing, as ever, a really good job at taking this cutoff. Again, look at this, 201 tickets over 196. A real close game here as we just go past the 34-minute mark. So really cool that a really cool game that I appear to have just like randomly selected to cast. 2 squads of 5-star Panzerfusiliers. Ooh, that is, that makes my inner Axis player pretty happy.
Down to 200 points.
So, okay, how's this Scot been doing? Alright, let's take a look here. 9 kills, 1 star of veterancy. I mean, that's been okay. I'm still a little confused by the choice of the Scot when it came out, but I thought for sure it was just going to get picked off by the Jagdtiger, but it actually hasn't, so perhaps asoureh was correct to go for that unit. It's hard to say. I still feel like it was an odd choice at the time he made it. And looks like VonIvan going to re-establish his presence in the middle of the map, flexing his muscles. The additional range, line of sight, and power of these Panzerfusiliers, surprisingly effective. Just doing tons and tons of damage to the American infantry. Actually, they have a Zook as well. This 5-star squad here has a Zook. That's pretty worrisome. Oh my goodness me, there's another Zook on the floor here. And these Panzerfusiliers running straight in for the pickup. Gonna take a hit. Gonna take a few hits. This is risky now. He's gonna grab that. Now he needs to immediately fall back, if you ask me. Where's the immediate fallback? VonIvan. Don't forget about these guys. Oh, this could be a 5-star squad. Yeah, it's a 5-star squad, right. And that was just a moment of inattention there on those Panzerfusiliers. VonIvan going to kick himself for that. Luckily, he had the manpower to just immediately replace the squad, and that he's going to go ahead and do. But losing those 5 golden stars above that unit obviously hurts. So that's pretty rough. Panzerfusiliers down here in the south kind of going to get kicked back as well. Both players actually now on even footing when it comes to the scoreline. 185 each way. Whoa, the Scot just gets knocked off by the wind-up toys. Wind-up toys pretty good against that. The Jagdtiger here finds a sweet angle, casting a shot through that gap there, you can see there. And that's really nice there. Takes a big chunk of health off this EZ8, which is kind of now stranded behind enemy lines. The Puma and the Lukes here can force it out like a hunter's dogs. They can flush it from cover, and that's going to enable the hunter with his rifle, in this case the Jagdtiger with his massive gun, to take the shot. And that is the end of the American medium armor on the field. And that's a big problem for asoureh. Now he does nearly have money for another EZ8. That is a thing he could buy. But this is spiraling out of control for him now. These Axis units are so durable, and they accumulate so much value over the long run. Once they start accumulating veterancy and things, that you can't keep feeding your units into them. It becomes an unwinnable situation. So we are in danger of seeing that. So he does get the Puma. That's nice. He does get the Puma. That is nice. God damn. It's just a tough one to cover. There's just battling. There's like combat going on everywhere. Okay. I think this is just desperate flailing though from the American player. It seems far less coordinated than VonIvan's actions. He is consolidating mid again, and he is causing a lot of American units to have to fall back. Panzerfusiliers all up in the grill of this M1. Gonna take that one out as well. That's actually available for salvage. I believe if VonIvan wants it, he could grab that. And that he's probably gonna go and do. Oh no, he's just gonna smash it down with the Jagdtiger. Of course. Oh, like a bolt of thunder. Sorry, a bolt of lightning.
The enemy is overrunning one of our capture points.
Okay, so the American player is going to push up in the northeast over here. VonIvan's going to prioritize actually the sort of southwest and mid. So both these players kind of circling like sumo wrestlers at the moment. The American player, though, just doesn't really have the tools at his disposal to take a big fight. Looks like we're going to see a third Puma from VonIvan. Doesn't really have the tools at his disposal to take another fight. These Pumas are okay, but why doesn't he get the Stuckers of Foos? I feel like that would be the KO blow here. That's like the one thing that would make his composition like super Hadouken awesome. The Pumas are useful, and I suppose... oh, wow, he lost his Panzer II somewhere? Oh, I totally missed that. Oh, dirt. Magpie, do keep up. Ugh. It's been a long week. It's been a long week. I'm just going to blame that spontaneously. Okay, so Panzerfusilier is going to get flushed out here. Ought to not be squad wiped. I feel like they're durable enough that they should not die here. Kettenwerf are going to sneak up into an OK building. Jagdtiger still on a nice overwatching position here in the middle of the map. I'm beginning to see why VonIvan just picked this doctrine straight away at the start of the game, because it gives you a ton of useful tools on this map. Because of the way this map is designed, because of the massive open space like here, the Jagdtiger is super dominant, but so are Panzerfusiliers. So I do like it. I do like the choice here from VonIvan. Here comes the Puma again. It looks like this Rakettenwerfer may not be long for this world. There we go. Gets destroyed-ificated as the building goes down. And, okay, so, alright. So it's 57 supply, 4 squads Panzerfusiliers, mortar, 3-star mortar, youch. Jagdtiger plus Puma versus what? Lieutenant, captain. So a lieutenant has actually been built. That's... What does he want from the lieutenant building?
We're losing a capture point.
He wants 50 cals. That's actually a really sweet idea. Asoureh thinking on his feet here.
HMG squad, ready for
Yeah,
action.
because of course this is one of those like back and forth turf battles for control of the 3 VPs in open terrain. And under those circumstances, it is usually the player who's able to cover the points with MGs that has a much better time of it. So asoureh actually making what I think is a really well-informed, very intelligent unit choice here, and is mixing in 50 cals, having gone for a lieutenant. Not a bad choice at all, and probably going to make life really hard, because as good as these Panzerfusiliers are, they are much less good when they're caught in the arc of a heavy machine gun, and that is actually going to ameliorate a lot of value from VonIvan's army. So, this is going to be an interesting one. And VonIvan obviously, okay, so he's seen the lieutenant, so he has to know his opponent adapting now. He'll shortly see the 50 cals, one of them in position already. Oh, sadly not quite forward enough to catch these Panzerfusiliers in the arc, but the 50 cals are out now.
A capture point is under attack.
Jagdtiger just continuing to take shots at the infantry is so funny. I think this ability, yeah, it costs 40 munitions, so that's actually quite steep for VonIvan. I mean, he only has 90, and he is a prolific user of munitions. He likes to be able to have mines out on the map, and you know, actually he still doesn't have the G43s. Okay, now he takes them, so okay, yeah, he was saving the G43s before. So yeah, pretty much flatlining on munitions is VonIvan right now, but I'm sure he'd like to be able to use the HE barrage if he can. I believe it is effective against infantry, like that is my understanding. I'll be honest, this is not a commander I use very often, so I very, very, very rarely use a Jagdtiger myself. And so, okay, so the 50 cals are providing value. Oh, that's a grenade! That's a good grenade. VonIvan has to pull this unit back, and he does, just in the nick of time. I thought that grenade may actually have been even more dangerous than it was, but it still hit home pretty hard. A lot of VonIvan's units now getting tired out. A lot of them going to have to fall back and repair. Is this mortar still firing? No, the mortar coming forward now. And asoureh actually takes back mid-map control. I feel like a Panzer II would be a sweet choice for VonIvan now. 265 manpower, so he can take that just now. I feel like a Panzer II would actually be quite cool. Although there are a lot of Zooks on this army now. So I think I like... Pardon me. I think I like the Werferman more. Going for the Stuka-Zafus I think would be the better choice. But VonIvan getting pushed back. If I crack the attack, you can see the story. His unit's just needing an opportunity to repair, reinforce, rearm, do all that good stuff. And actually an AT gun going to creep up here, so VonIvan's going to have to get the Tiger back here at this point. Bonk. Man, the frontal armor on that thing is pretty good. And now the Panzerfusiliers are going to come forward with their superior range and DPS and push all of these American units back again. Where are the 50 cals through all this? Okay, so one of them kind of moving up into northeast, one of them kind of down in southwest, covering the VP very nicely. So this is a sensible split, I suppose, on these 50 cals. How much is an American 50 cal to buy? 280, okay. Uh-oh, these riflemen 3 stars with the BAR getting caught out here. Panzerfusiliers here with the G43s up all over them. And that will be a squad wipe here. asoureh not with the manpower to replace a squad like that just now, so that is genuine damage that we're seeing inflicted by VonIvan. Nicely done. So 136 for VonIvan over 130 from asoureh. It's just nice stuff here. This has just been a good game. I've enjoyed casting this one so far. This has been cool. So let's see. That American mortar tube pulling its weight, getting so much value out here. Just listening to those shells raining in. Uh-oh, combat down in the south. Did kind of miss this. Panzerfusiliers are caught under the arc. This is a perfect opportunity for this other squad of Panzerfusiliers to come on in and get a frag down onto this machine gun team. So that's still an option that VonIvan has. I'm sure he's just microing these units like to the best of his ability right now. So he does go for a Panzer II Lux. That is the choice, and I do like this. I think that's going to actually really help. It's going to really help. That's a lot of reallys. That means it's going to help a lot, right?
Krauts are taking one of our points.
Okay, so he actually manages to force back this 50 cal in south. That means that he can put some Panzerfusiliers onto grabbing this point here.
The enemy is overrunning one of our capture points.
But we're in the stage of the game now where every single point of scoreline matters a lot. And VonIvan at the moment he's bleeding out at 2 per tick. He's bleeding out really fast actually. Wow, I'm kind of amazed he doesn't prioritize grabbing this VP. He needs to do that. Because this is a game that's going to be decided by small margins of VPs, I think. I mean, it has all the makings of a game that will be decided by small amounts of VPs here and there. And this is an opportunity to grab this point that he's kind of missed, and this Major is even going to sneak in and try and grab that again. American forces beginning to assemble back into the south of the map, into the southwest, and that is going to enable asoureh to take this point back, and it was never garrisoned, it was never captured by VonIvan. But VonIvan is going to capture northeast, and he's going to capture mid, so that's actually okay. And these Panzerfusiliers just do such good work. Oh, here comes it's a grenade exchange. Pineapple versus Model 24.
The enemy has cut our supply chain. A resource sector has been isolated.
And the Panzerfusiliers just out muscling the riflemen there. Not a thing you get to say very often, but those G43s and the 6-man squad making a big difference in that battle. Okay, so VonIvan grabs 2 of the VPs. He's now no longer under the bleed, 77 under 128, but this is going to be a long and difficult game unless he can get his teeth into this southwest VP. He needs to grab that one, this VonIvan. That has to be the plan here. And I'd actually really like to see VonIvan mix in some MG34s, like just 2 of them maybe, because his opponent doesn't have any indirect fire, right? So those units would probably be pretty valuable. Jagdtiger getting forced back here by a combination of an AT gun and a Major on the flank. Here comes some white phosphorus from the American player. Hang on, no? What? That does not look like white phosphorus. Is this assault artillery? Seems like a weird location for it. Oh, is that the Major barrage? I think probably that was the Major barrage, my bad, right. I'll get there, piecing it together. Magpie procasting for the win. So that's a squad wipe on the Lieutenant. Also gets an M1 AT gun. Easy 8 pops up onto the queue here for asoureh. And this battle's still very, very, very open. Nobody bleeding out right now. This 50 cal ought to die. Yeah, so hemorrhaging 3 units in rapid succession actually. asoureh's force roster getting cut down to size. And anytime you see an American force roster get this small, I mean, we're at 37 supply under 72 right now. So actually I think VonIvan in that last exchange may have broken his foe. I mean, that is a lot of losses to sustain. I don't know if asoureh will be able to mount enough pressure or be able to retake mid now. He's going to lose this 50 cal as well. That's a lot of hardware actually just out on the map. You know, if VonIvan's able to grab these 50 cals, that probably will be game. The reason I say that is because losing 2 50 cals is terrible, and asoureh knows it. Losing 2 50 cals is terrible, and if at the same time your opponent grabs 2 additional like HMG squads, in a situation like this where HMGs provide such utility by locking down the victory points, which are pretty much the only thing that matter on the map, that's huge, and asoureh knows it. He lost too many units in that little exchange there. Don't know what happened really. His micro just kind of fell apart. He lost the AT gun, lost the Lieutenant falling back across the open, lost the 2 HMG guns, the 50 cals, and that is actually going to put him out of this game. But I feel like he was in that game right to the last, putting up a really good fight against a very high caliber player that is VonIvan. You know, one of the most infamous and storied players, I think, in Company of Heroes 2. So a good game from asoureh, and I think if it just didn't fall apart like that in the last battle, then there was a lot of battles still to be played here. You know, I was thinking we might get all the way down to the sort of sub 30 tickets for each player, and it would be a really tense one. But this was still a fantastic battle to cast. Well played by VonIvan, getting off to a rough start, if you recall, getting his Schwerver Max Schlepper just a tad early, and then losing a squad of Volks. I think it was a squad of Volks. really early on in the game was rough. That was harsh. But able to fight back with a counter squad wipe on some riflemen in the early game, and then able to cement his style using a Panzer II Lukes and the Puma, the wind-up toy combination, to buy him enough time to make it safely to the Jagdtiger, which, let's face it, was never really challenged. I don't think it was ever below half health this game, and was able to put down, let's take a check here, 5 vehicles, as well as 11 infantry and a building. But able to chalk off 5 vehicles, so the Jagdtiger definitely providing value. And as I was saying before, this doctrine, of course, making a lot of sense on this map, and I think that's why VonIvan felt happy picking it straight off the bat, right at the start of the game, because Panzerfusiliers provide so much value on this map, and the Jagdtiger too, making use of the open nature of this map is a really good choice, I think. So, yay! Good battle. That was good fun. I believe that will conclude this cast. So thank you all very much for watching. And this is Magpie842 signing out for now.